Hi, I'm the Noob Woodworker, and today we're going to be building some raised bed gardens. First, we're going to be making the corner post. These 4x4s are too long to be able to run through any of the saws I have. First, we're going to cut down this 4x4 into 16-inch sections for corner posts and the sides. That just happens to be the length of my speed square. I'm going to continue this line around on two sides so that I can keep my saws all aligned. This is the only saw that I have that's long enough to make it through this 4x4. I'm going to be breaking down each of these 2x6s in half down to 48 inches roughly. Now, unfortunately, because I don't have the radial arm saw station set up, these cuts are pretty rough. So what I'm going to do is use my miter gauge and my table saw here to clean them up. I won't be able to do this with an 8-foot long piece because it's just too wobbly. All 2x6s, so in order to work with them, we're going to need to rip 6 of them right down the middle. Now, if you were building one bed, you'd only need to rip down 3 of them, but we're building 2 beds, and that way we won't have any leftover pieces. I hoped it was going to do it on that board. On the last one I cut, which came off the same board, the board actually had some spring tension in it. So as I cut, I actually had the board on the end was pinching together like that. Now, a riving knife would stop something like that. Unfortunately, mine doesn't fit. It's bent and it's not in line with the saw blade, so I would be getting stopped every time. Also, a couple of other safety devices that I have here. This is an anti-kickback. It's kind of got like an angled ramp here, inclined plane, and as the board goes out, it drags across these. Ow, that hurts. If for some reason the board wants to kick back, these teeth will bite down and the board won't go anywhere. But that also attaches to the riving knife, so that has the same problem. This is a cut guard. I think it goes on like this. This covers up the blade so that you can't, well, it's at least harder to cut yourself. It also helps with dust collection because all the dust gets pulled right down. This also attaches to the riving knife, so it runs into the same problem.
Finally, we're going to put 2 pocket holes on the end of each of these boards.
So the plan with these, using these pocket holes, is to cut a dado in the 2 sides of each of these 4x4s. So that when the pocket holes are screwed in, they won't sit out like this, but they'll be recessed in. And I figured in on this about 1/2 inch. If I go any further than that, then there won't be enough material in this corner to hold up. Now I did some long math. Each of these blocks is 3 3/8. I divided that in half and subtracted 3/4 of an inch so that I could figure out the distance between my fence and the edge of this first cut. And I came up with 29 32nds, which, yeah, I just subtracted a 32nd, which got me down to 7/8 of an inch. So that'll give me a 1/16 of an inch to play with in this dado. Now some of these are going to have to be cut where the dados are on opposite sides, and some of them they're going to be on corners. So I'm going to have to keep track of that while I'm cutting. But on the plus side, since I'm offsetting from the edge the same distance on each side, when I run each of these through, I can just flip it around and run it through again, rather than having to go through the whole pile, move the fence, and do each cut that way. So I'm going to start out with 2 corner pieces here. Get them pretty closely lined up at the top. And then we're going to use a heavy anchor to keep all these ports from moving. Now, usually when you pick up one of these pocket hole systems, you're going to use special screws that have a square drive on the top, and the shaft for those is really long. But we're going to use coated screws so that we don't have to worry about corrosion, at least for the first couple of years. And one of the reasons that it has that really long shaft is because when you try to get in here, the head of the driver is going to hit the wood, and the screw's going to bottom out. You're not going to be able to drive it all the way. So what I did is add an extension on here. And these are star drive screws. And the problem with this, with pocket holes, you got to set your clutch fairly low. I've got it only at a 4 here. Otherwise, you'll drive right through the bottom of the board. Thank you. I know, we cut it close.
You got 3 more. You're close.
We're all done though.
Close.
So now that we've got this all assembled, we could stop there and go and install it. But I'm actually going to put a coat of deck stain on this, just the cheapest stuff you can find. I got some clearance stuff that was marked down to $9, and I even got a $10 discount or a $10 rebate on it. So they actually paid me $1 to take it. So I don't know how that worked out, but we're going to put a free coat of deck stain on this to protect it for the next couple of years.
And that's going to do it for this job. You could stop here after you fill in all your dirt and plant your plants. But if you want to build the trellis that you see in the intro shot, then stay tuned. We're going to have another quick video put out that shows how to build that. It's pretty simple. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to see more content. If you want to be notified as soon as new content comes out, click that little bell icon.